Starting from today, we are going back to studying from the test lessons with Rabash. We will read from the study of the 10 Sefirot, Volume 2, Part 5. We are in the inner light, item 35, starting from the paragraph Not Mati in Keter, starting from the words you already know that these vessels of the second expansion. So we'll read from Tess, Volume 2, Part 5. This is from item 35. The reality of Mati and not Mati should be thoroughly clarified. It is said that in the beginning the light comes in Keter, and all 9 lights are contained in it. Afterwards, it returns to being not Mati, when the light that reaches Keter exits it once more. But the 9 other lights remain in Keter, since Keter has the power to tolerate them. In that state, when the light is not Mati, expanding in the Keter extends the 9 lights to Chokhmah, face to face, and places them in Chokhmah. At that time, Chokhmah turns her interior after receiving the 9 lights, and shines to Binah face to face. It is only illumination, but she still does not give her the 7 lights.
When we say the vessel of Keter, we are already confused. Why? He learns there, or teaches there, that in the beginning, the vessel of Malchut comes out. What is the vessel of Malchut? There was 4 there. The light of Keter in the vessel of Keter, he says, there was no light. From what phase? Afterwards, when Malchut rose to Zaranpin, the level of Chokhmah illuminated. Then there was a lot of Chokhmah in the vessel of Keter. You find that Chokhmah is still not called a vessel. Keter is not called a vessel yet. It's got coarseness, but it has no coarseness, but it has light. You find that in the end, when I say the vessel of Keter, it means it was refined into the root coarseness. Which light came into the vessel of Keter? The light of Malchut. Afterwards, when he says to the vessel of Keter to also be refined, there is no light in the vessel of Keter. Then the vessel of Keter is called empty vessel. Now, which vessel of Keter am I speaking of? Keter means it had a vessel of Ta'amim, taste. It remained this way, except what? It's still light from a lower degree. So that confuses us. We learn that Parzuf Ab took the empty vessels of Parzuf Galgalta. Therefore, when I say expanding in Keter, which vessel am I speaking of? Am I speaking of Keter of Parzuf Ab? And here, he's not speaking of Keter of Parzuf Ab. Where's the Rosh of Ab? He's not speaking about it at all. When I say expanding and not expanding, the departure of the light only in the goof, you find that he doesn't speak of the Rosh of Ab at all here. What does he speak of? The coupling that was in the Rosh of Galgalta and had to expand to the goof of Galgalta, which we call the goof of Galgalta after Ab, which took these vessels. Why am I being confused here? Patzuf Ab, and we're speaking about the vessels of the Guf of Galgalta when the light departed. Now, when he tells us he has vessels of Keter, Chochma, Bina, Zaran, Pin, Malchut, that remain for us in Patzuf Galgalta, that the light departed from them. And he says, when does a vessel become a vessel? A vessel is recognized precisely after the departure of the light from it. Now he begins to speak. When Patzuf Galgalta came out the first time on 4 of coarseness, there was a level of keter there. Then the light shone in the vessel. There was no a mixture there. On the contrary, the light and the vessel were mixed. It was not called a vessel. What happened afterwards? The clash of inner and surrounding. So Patzuf Galgalta, the level of Ta'amim, the level of Keter, was refined from phase 4 to 3. Now, about the taste, we count 10 Sefirot. When I say that Malchut was emptied, the question is, was only Malchut emptied? Or in all the level, in all of Keter, in all 10 Sefirot, did the light depart? We learn that the light departed in all 10 Sefirot. So the Rav is asking, the Ari is asking, why am I saying only Malchut was emptied? Since afterwards there was a couple in one phase 3 called Malchut. She went up to Zeranpin. So from Keter to Zeranpin, it was filled with smaller light. But there was light. This is still not discerned, he says, as an empty vessel. And then, when phase 3 was refined as well, and it shown, and the level of Bina shown, then Zaranpin 2 says it's got no light now. So he also considers it a vessel. And in Keter Chochma Bina, I consider the Patzuf Ta'amim as well, which had light before. Now it's regarded that they have light as well, although a smaller light. They only have Bina. Then she was refined when Malchut rose to Chochma, so that level went out as well, and the empty vessel was filled as well. With what? Keter Chochma. They had light of Zaranpin and Malchut. Then phase 1 was refined as well. The level, the coarseness of Keter shown, which only has a light of Malchut. So there was a light of Malchut in the vessel of Keter. Then Malchut was refined as well. So now, in the vessel of Keter, there is no light at all. Now, we learned Keter that was refined and has no light of the light of Malchut, root coarseness. Then we learn that light came to the vessel of Keter. So I consider that vessel by the name Ta'amim, taste, and it's got 4-3. And I don't think about Malchut, only about Keter. From where is Keter built? That's a little strange. So I say that Keter had tastes where? In the first degree, in the first state. But in the end, it came to the light of Nefesh, to the root coarseness, not to Malchut. And I'm thinking about that's the highest phase he had. What did Keter have from the upper phase? It had 4. We learned in part 4 that first, before it was refined, there was the clash of inner and surrounding in Patzuf Galgalta. And there was a refinement of the screen until the screen went up to the Rosh. And what are you asking? In the Rosh, its records rise. And since the last phase is lost, the surrounding light weakened its screen. That's why in the Rosh of Golgotha there is no 4-3. 1. Who raised it to the Rosh of Golgotha? We learned the screen of Tabu. The screen of the Tabu went up to the Rosh of Golgotha with all its records. We learned something new there. That the screen of Tabu was incorporated with the coarseness of Malchut of the Rosh. It's called from below upward, where he itself can draw light and make a coupling by striking. And Malchut means it's called the copulating Malchut, making a coupling by striking. Afterwards, we learned that the Rosh of Golgotha made a coupling on 4-3. So the coarseness of the screen of Tabu that he can already receive, which is the goof, not the Rosh, descended to its place. But it did not descend to the place of Tabu instead of phase 4. It was not made on phase 4, but only in phase 3, so it's deficient. Okay. We learned that this light filled the empty vessels of Parsuf Golgotha. Afterwards, we learned that this is called the inner Ab. What is inner? That Ab, 3-4, is inside the vessels of Golgotha. Then we learned that the screen of Tabu that went up, which is incorporated in Malchut of the Rosh, that returned to being below after the coupling by striking that was on 4-3 in the Rosh of Golgotha and descended to the phase of Chazeh, awakens the coarseness of below upwards by itself and drew the light like Malchut of the Rosh, called the copulating Malchut, where from the Chazeh to the Peh, the light of the Rosh of Ab came out, and from the Chazeh downward, the goof of Ab came out. We learned here. I asked about this before. What's missing for us is that he does not speak of the Rosh of Ab. And we must learn that first the Rosh of Ab came out, and then the goof of Ab, the ta'amim, the taste of Ab. And then the ta'amim, the taste of Ab had to be refined, and then the nekudot, the dots of Ab, as we always learn. Here he says, empty vessels that remained means remained from below down, from the Peh downward. So which vessels is he speaking of? That the vessels would move to Ab. When am I speaking of them? Either I speak of them before Ab went out at all, and here it says, as soon as the vessels move, even before Ab comes out. Look at page 319. And you find, I'm beginning with not expanding in Keter. You have it? You already know that those vessels of the second expansion are those empty vessels that remained after the first expansion, after Patzuf Gilgalta. It was also explained above in the Ari's words. The order of the making of those vessels, where in the beginning Malchut was made. Why? Because she was emptied of her light. She was the first to be emptied of her light. Then, when the vessel of Zeranpin was emptied of its light, the vessel of Zeranpin was made. Then, when the vessel of Bina was emptied, the vessel of Bina was made, etc. The reason for it is that the vessels were made. Here we should speak of the recognition of the vessels from the coarse light that remained below and did not rise and depart with their direct light, with the abundance. As Yeri writes above, hence each and every vessel was made with the departure of the light from within it, because then the coarse light remained below and the vessel was made. We learned it already. You therefore find that the vessels were organized from the time of their making, one above the other. First Malchut, above it Zanpin, above it Bina, until the vessel of Keter above them all. By this you know that here too, in the second expansion in Patzuf Ab, even before the lights were expanded, the vessels are already arranged and stand from above downward. The Keter at the top of them, and finally Malchut, as it went out in the first expansion, the vessels, one after the other. What is written here is as they went out in the first expansion, the vessels one after the other, as they went out one after the other, meaning after the departure. We'll see. Therefore, when the lights expanded and went out from the coupling on the level of Keter and Chokhmah, where all those 10 Sefirot were on an equal level near Keter, they found for them, ready and standing, the vessel of Keter that's suitable for them. Only from the vessels of the Guf of Galgalta. And where was the coupling? In the Rosh of Galgalta. From the Rosh of Ab, it does not speak here at all. You find that all the refinements from everything we learn from the three of Ab, how it was. What we learned, that's the question, that it has, then when there was a coupling in the Rosh of Galgalta, in the hay, and filled the vessels in the internality of the Guf of Galgalta. And then we learned the Rosh of Ab comes out in the Guf of Ab, or in Tabu of the Guf of Ab. There was a clash of inner and surrounding, and then there was the order of refinement of Ta'amim and Nekudot, tastes and dots, respectively. And here he speaks of empty vessels that passed. He does not speak of the Rosh of Ab at all. He is not saying that we're speaking of the Rosh of Galgalta. Also, he only speaks of the vessels of Galgalta that moved to Patzuf Ab. So what are we missing? He should have said here that the Guf of Galgalta moved to the Guf of Ab. This is difficult for us. Why is it difficult? We learned that's the order of clothing, where the Rosh of Galgalta, Ab, clothes Chagat of Galgalta, from the Chazeh to the Pei, we learned. And the Guf clothes from the Chazeh to the Tabu of Galgalta. So we're missing this order, which he tells us. And when we learn about the clash of inner and surrounding, that was already in Pasuf Ab, not in Pasuf Galgalta. There, we went inside. He does not speak. Where he does not speak, I want to speak about it a little bit. I don't want to speak about it. I like to speak about what he does speak. What else did we learn? That in Pasuf Ab, in his Tabu, there was a clash of inner and surrounding. We learned. And there, Ta'amim, Nekudot, the level of Keter comes out, the level of Chokhmah, Keter, Chokhmah, Binah. And here it's missing. He does not interpret. We learn the clash of inner and surrounding. The surrounding light comes and says, receive more. But while this did not receive, what are you going to receive more? That was still in the internality of Golgotha, and it's still not revealed. This is why we need to reveal the fourth three in the Rosh of Ab, and then fourth three in the Guf of Ab is revealed. Until here. More than that, I don't want to receive. So where did it stand in the fourth three? In the Rosh, in Tabu of Ab? So he says, receive more. So he hasn't completed receiving 4-3. What does it mean, receive more? I haven't received this yet.
נעבור לחלק הבא של השיעור, לימוד בין חברים.
We'll move